And you've been renting this out on Turo before too, right?
Absolutely, man. It's a great way to cover a car payment and even a little bit more. I have a Camaro that does exceptionally well. Las Vegas is full of transients, tourists just coming to town. Rather than going to Enterprise and Sixth and all those other places, it's convenient for them. That's the way the world is going, convenience. Right off your phone, you could rent a car.
I think that the business model we described can be a 7-figure business net, if we just do it the right way. We buy the right cars, we get good deals. We're very tight with operations and hiring and having a good location that, people want to go to. There's a lot that can be done to make this a very big business.
And it's the best way to get a full test drive, no salesman in the back barking at you, like, isn't this a great car? You should buy it. It's like, it gives you the opportunity to do that. And then I kind of made it as a thing of mine where every time I go to a different city, I drive a different car. So if I'm like, hey, the new C8 Corvette came out, let me drive that. Okay, I drove that. You know what? I just saw that Kia made the best minivan. So I got some car reviews coming up on my channel, and that's how I did them. I literally just rented cars on Turo.
About a year ago, I met this guy named Dave who was running his own Turo fleet. At the time, he had a few cars, he was hustling, he was doing pretty good, and we developed a little bit of a friendship. He actually rented my Tesla from me when I listed on Turo. Well, after that, a few months later, he wanted to get some advice on what he should do for his business, so I had him come back to the office, and I gave him a lot of different tips and things that I would do if I were to start a Turo business. And today, we are here at his office now to check in on him and see how he's doing. So let's go see. What's up, bro?
What's up?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you again. How are you?
So I'm good, man. You got a little co-workspace going on.
I do. I don't like to call it little. I like to call it big co-workspace.
There we go.
No, but this is great though. I was able to come here. I have a dedicated workspace here, and I have parking for all my cars.
Yeah, that was the one thing we talked about when I was giving you the advice was I think you should get like an office space or something that's pretty close to the airport. And man, dude, what are you, like 5 minutes from the airport now?
Yeah, if that. It's really close, maybe a mile or two away.
Yeah. Well, I love that you did a co-work space. A lot of people don't know this, but when I first started flipping houses, this was back in 2015, I ended up getting a co-work space, and I was paying like $300 a month. I had my own private office, and I was able to get mail and have an official business address, and everything was legit.
I wish you would have told me that, man. It took me a long time to find this space. I was working with realtors and everything, and then
I should have probably told you that during the meeting. But you know what? Sometimes as an entrepreneur, you got to figure things out. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
But no, this place is great. So you got your little workspace over there, right?
Yep. So I got my workspace over here, and then we have common areas that we get to share. So I have my dedicated desk, laptop, computer, everything.
Yeah.
And we have a boardroom, we have a content studio, so just a bunch of different places.
Yeah, let's check that stuff out before we talk about the Turo business and the fleet, because I think a lot of people watching this right now, if you're an entrepreneur, and you're like, man, I can't afford office space. I can't afford all these amenities.
Right.
I think a co-work space is huge. I mean, dude, for a few $100 a month, you get access to all this stuff. Let's go see what you got.
Yeah, definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
Yep. And this is our content studio right here. So if you want to do a podcast, we have people that come in here and just do photo shoots, video shoots. We just come right in here and do it.
Yeah, this is tight. We just set up one of these, I call them an infinity wall. I don't even know what they're called, but this is really good for content. You got a nice little chair and a light over there. You've got the studio vibes. Like,
not bad, right?
I've spent way more to build my studio. You got it for a couple $100 a month.
Right, yeah. So I pay about $550 a month total with my space and then the parking spots that I have for the cars. So great deal. Like, I'm definitely winning in this situation.
Yeah. So tell me about how many cars you have now.
So now I have 15 cars that are on the fleet, and I have 2 other personal cars, so I have 17 total.
Wow.
And I have 3 pending deals that are coming in, so 3 more cars that are on the way.
So you're gonna have 20 in the fleet, essentially.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, there'd be 20 at that point.
How many did you have when we first met?
I think I only had 4 or 5 cars.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, I wanna say he was just getting started. He had a few, and you scaled it 5X, 4X.
Definitely. And the main catalyst of that was when I left my job. Remember, I had a job.
Yeah, I remember.
Part-time.
I told you to quit that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the guy who always tells you to quit school, quit your job, whatever.
All the worst advice, right?
Yeah, but it worked out.
It worked out great. Yeah, as soon as I did that, like, my back was against the wall.
Yeah.
And I had to really push and scale. So I've scaled really aggressive over the past couple months.
Yeah. So tell me about like what you're doing to scale. How have you been able to do it?
So when we previously spoke, I think the last video, we talked about how I was going to get funding for the car. So what I did was I actually got registered with the county as a car rental agency.
Okay.
So when I did that, I started building my business credit, and I was approved for a rental car floor plan, which they approved me for $150K in funding.
Okay.
To get more cars. So
cool.
Now I do have that funding available to me, but then I also started taking OPC. When I say OPC, I mean other people's cars. We always hear OPM, right?
Yeah, I was like, OPC, other people's cars.
Other people's
I like
cars,
it.
Right?
Okay.
So instead of them investing cash with me, they can just send a car to me that they already have. Maybe they needed a little help, you know, with the payment or whatever. They can send it to me. I'll manage it inside my fleet.
Wow. So how many other cars do you have that people own?
Right now I have 4. So 4 of my fleet are owned by other people and managed.
And how does the deal work with them on that? Like, how does the split work? Who does what?
So I actually give them a profit split. So right now I offer a 60-40 split as I'm getting started. So I actually do it in their favor. So they get 60%, I take 40. So that incentivizes me. The more I make them, the more I make.
Yep.
So it's a win-win.
But they're still responsible for like their insurance and car payment, all that stuff?
Correct.
It's just the TURO revenue that you're splitting?
Exactly. Yeah, so all their expenses are still on them, and it comes out of their portion of the revenue split.
Right, right. No, that's super cool. I mean, like, what are you seeing that these guys are making doing a split with you?
So I have kind of a range of those 4 cars. I have an Audi Q5, I have a Chevy Malibu, I'm trying to think of the other ones right now. Ford Fiesta, cars like, so they range, right?
Yeah.
But on average, they make about $900 to $1,000 a month. So they might make, you know, $600 on the deal, $500 to $600 a month.
Yeah, you're talking $1,000 net cash flow.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I mean, that's great for them. I mean, they make money, they get to, you know, get their car paid down or paid off, and like, is it just like a second car for them? Are they not using it? What's the deal?
So everyone that I'm working with now, it's a second car that they have that was just sitting around.
Yeah.
And they figured, why not turn that liability into an asset?
Yeah.
You know, and make money with it.
Yeah. Well, I want to see some of the cars you got now, because I remember when we first talked, your dream car was to get a Corvette.
Right, yeah. And with my dream cars, I do it in tiers. So the C8 Corvette was one of my dream cars. I've always been in love with mid-engine sports cars.
Yeah.
But then I definitely have some above that. Definitely the Lamborghini Huracan.
Yeah.
Pagani is like at the top tier piece of art.
Yeah, you know, I just filmed with my boy Houston Crosta, and you know, I'm curious to hear your thoughts too, because he doesn't necessarily like TURO, because his business is, you know, exotic cars off of TURO, and so TURO kind of eats into his business. But yesterday, he had a Pagani, he had like a bunch of Lambos, he had a a Koenigsegg, I think is what it's called, that's just unreal. I mean, the Pagani was like $3.5 million.
Right, exactly. It's crazy. It's like rolling art. Like, that's what I look at it like. So.
That's how he described it too. Yeah, let me see what you got going on in the fleet.
Yep, let's go.
All right, so the parking lot's big, man. You can fit a lot of cars out here.
Yeah, definitely. Space was a big factor on why I chose this spot.
Yeah, no, it looks good. Now, I see a couple of cars going on here. I see the beautiful Corvette that I know you really wanted.
Exactly, and I wanted to have more cars for you guys, but seeing that it's Friday and we're in Las Vegas, they're all rented out right now, so I keep my cars going.
Yeah, that's the way you want it. Exactly. It's funny, because everybody that I've ever filmed with for TURO says the same thing. They're like, man, I don't have that many cars. Like, they're out.
If you're doing it right, you should never have issues with parking. You should always have your cars.
The cars are just always in and out.
Exactly.
So tell me, how does it work with like washing the cars and stuff here?
So we have a mobile detailer that comes in and he'll detail the cars on site. I do some of the cars myself too, since I have the time back. So as I'm scaling and growing more, adding more revenue to the business, I'm gonna completely outsource that.
Yeah, dude, bro. Yeah. Like, that's my next piece of advice. You should not be washing cars, dude. I don't care how much time you have.
I know.
That is like the worst use of your time.
I know. I wouldn't even cut my own grass. So I'm like, my ROI isn't there.
I want you to throw away any towels, any hoses, any cleaners. Throw them all away.
All right, man. All right, so I actually got a couple towels right here in the front. In the front, I think you call it.
Yeah, bro. You can't be doing this. You can't be doing this. Like, this is just,
All right.
you can't do that, all right? It's done. So let's talk about a couple of these cars just so the viewers can get an idea. You know, a year ago, I rented a C8 and I almost bought one. You know, I was like, dude, the C8 is sick. I love this. I ended up going with the Porsche Taycan, which I also love. But like, what would you think this thing will rent for?
If I were to rent this, it would rent for about $300 a day. Roughly.
300 a day.
Vegas, yeah.
Okay.
It's different in different parts of the country.
Yeah.
But I actually keep this as my personal car.
Yeah.
And I let my other cars pay for this car.
Yeah. So at 300 a day, how many days a month would this thing get rented?
About 10 to 15 days it would get rented for.
Okay.
So not as much as like an economy car that's going like 25 days.
Yeah.
But about 10 days is pretty conservative.
Okay, so let's say it made $3,000 a month.
Right.
You know, that's $36,000 a year. You know, how much did you pay for this?
$73K I paid
Okay.
for this one.
So I mean, honestly, in about 2 years, that thing would have made enough revenue.
Right, to pay for itself.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm seeing with some of my finance cars now.
Yeah.
About 2 years roughly is where I get all the
That's the
investment
goal.
back. That's the goal. With my cash cars, it's actually a year where
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that money back faster.
Right. So tell me about this Audi. This is one of the people you partnered with, right?
Correct, yeah, so this is OPC, other people's cars right here. Someone sent this car to me because she got a newer SUV.
Yep.
This was just sitting in the driveway, so she decided to send it out to me and make money with it.
Yeah. So, all right, so tell me about what this Audi rents for.
Yeah, so this Audi right now rents for about 60 to 75 a day. But
That seems low.
it is, but keep in mind, we're experiencing a slowdown in some of the luxury cars.
Okay.
This is also an older model, so.
What year is this?
It's 2012.
Okay. Oh, okay. So this is 10 years old.
Yeah.
Dang, this looks good for 10 years old.
That's what I said. Let me add this to the fleet.
Yeah. If this is 10 years old and you could rent it for $75 a day, like,
Definitely.
that's good.
It made perfect sense for the person I'm managing it for.
Yeah. Just cash flow.
Yep.
Nice. So.
Hey man, how you doing?
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
You too, bro.
Man, the hair's different since the last time.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to switch it up. So, dude, how's it been? Last time I saw you, you had like 5 cars you were doing this with. Where are you at now?
Yeah, so now I'm at 8 cars, about 7 that I keep active because I always choose one as a personal car.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I picked up a couple more since we last met.
So what'd you end up getting?
So the most recent one, I got a Jeep Patriot, which is like an economy SUV. That one took off immediately when I put it on the platform. And since we last met, I actually put a deposit on the C8 Corvette.
Oh, you ended up going with that.
I did, yeah.
I remember when you and I met, I was thinking about the C8, and you
Right.
were like, dude, I'm thinking about it too. And you ended up going that route where I didn't. So let's talk about your business. You know, when I put the story out, you were one of the first people to reach out to me about wanting help with growing your business.
Right.
And, you know, we had already met, and so I was like, oh, dude, I'm pretty familiar with this business model, and I liked you, cool dude. And, you know, just to see already a couple months later, you're already adding cars to the fleet.
Right.
And now you're trying to make this from like a side hustle to, you know, your full-time income.
And I'll actually go into my background a little bit. So before I got into TURO, I actually got into real estate, and I was buying, fixing, and flipping real estate. But a huge mistake I made in that is one thing I did was over-leverage myself. And I got in bad situations with my credit based on the amount of loans that I had. So that kind of scared me a little bit. And that's why I've been kind of sticking with the cash side of the business so far.
Right.
But now I know to get to the next level, I need to, okay, now that I have a business structure down, I need to get to the next level and start to figure out ways to finance these cars. For me, I don't know what the next steps are on expanding and getting to the next level.
Because you currently have another job, right?
I do. So I work full-time technically. I work from home as a sales consultant in the automotive industry as well, in auto detailing.
Yeah.
So I do that, and I try to keep that foundational income to pay for all our bills. And then the car income from the rental cars that I have, I actually just put right back into the business.
So my first question to you, and this is for anybody that's starting with a side hustle like TURO or house flipping or wholesaling, whatever, do you want to make this your full-time thing?
I do. Yeah, I want to grow this into a much larger situation.
Like, what's your vision for it? What do you want?
So my actual vision is to eventually or soon get into a location where I can have more cars and expand larger, and then have the rental car section, and then like a luxury detailing section.
So essentially you want to have two different businesses. Obviously they're the same industry. Which of those businesses do you see growing bigger and making more money?
So I'm actually unsure. Right now, definitely the rental cars look like they're going to be, or it's going to be the business that takes off the fastest and grows the largest.
Right. So one thing I'll say, it's very similar to me when I first started, Home Run Offer and Forever Home Realty. We went into the same building. They're very similar businesses, house flipping, brokerage, realtors, everything. And I already have the building, right? So why not have both businesses in there? And even when you look at my businesses today, all of them are in this office, whether it's Future Flipper, Lunar Ecom, TrueBooks. We're able to basically get economies of scale by having everything all together.
Right.
So if you do think that the luxury detailing business is going to be, lucrative for you, then cool, like do them both. But the reason I'm asking that is if that business is going to be, 10% of your revenue and TURO's 90%, then I honestly would just give up that business. It's not even worth the brain power to think about it. You should go all in on this one.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, to create focus while I scale it.
Yeah, because if you think about most people, they're gonna spend maybe equal time in these businesses, and it's like, this one is the one that makes the money. Like, why are you even wasting energy over here?
Right. I feel like it's kind of congested where I am. I'm rotating cars all the time, working.
You can't even buy more cars if you wanted. I mean, your house in your neighborhood is not going to allow it. You can get people that complain. And are you in an HOA?
I am.
Yeah. It ain't going to work out. So you can't be running this big time business out of there. So before even thinking about scaling, let's first talk about where exactly you're at. So right now, what is the monthly revenue that these 8 cars are bringing, and what are the expenses?
Right now at the moment, monthly revenue is about $4,500 in revenue after the TURO hire car expenses.
That's your net revenue.
That's my net revenue.
Okay.
And then I have expenses like insurance on the car, and I do have 1 car payment out of the 8 vehicles that I have.
Okay. So what is it net a month in profit?
Minus all expenses, it nets about $2,500 a month in profit.
Okay, so each car is bringing you around $300 a month, essentially.
Right.
Now, for you, you have cheaper cars. When I did the TURO series, I was going and renting, these bad boys.
Right.
And these guys are making a ton of money because, these cars are expensive. So what did all of those cars cost you, to basically get that return?
I usually buy my cars in cash, so most of the cars that I purchase are between $5,000 and $8,000 cash.
Okay.
And then I have to put work into them. So I do want to mention that. So my revenue is a little lower now because I've scaled dramatically over the past 6 months or so.
Right.
So when I buy the cars, I put money into the
rehab?
Yep, to the rehab of the car basically,
right,
to get them running. So that's going to taper off, and then my revenue will increase for the rest of this year.
Okay, so let's just say that you're all into the 8 cars for $50,000, okay? And then once you're stabilized, you're making what, $4,000 a month, you think?
I would say 5.
$5,000 a month?
$5,000 a month.
Yeah, and that makes it even easier numbers. So $50,000 investment, $5,000 a month. Essentially, you're gonna make it all back in a year. You got 100% return.
Right, yeah, and that's what the trend is right now. So I already have cars that are hitting their, actually less than a year, I have cars at their 9-month mark that are paying themselves off this month and next month.
Okay, cool. So we know that the TURO business model works.
Correct.
You're talking about making 100%. Now granted, when you scale, you're not gonna make that anymore because now you got overhead with a building, you've got overhead with employees helping you out because now, yeah, maybe you could do all 8 cars right now,
right,
but you can't do 100.
Exactly.
So you're not gonna make the 100% that you were before, but that's okay.
Okay.
Because it's better to make 50% of, $100,000 than 100% of $10,000.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
That just comes with scale. I've experienced the same thing out here. When I was by myself, I could do it all. I made 100% profit margins. When I hired these guys, we're at like 50%, which is still extremely good. But, that's just the give and take with scale.
See, that's perfect. That's the information that I know that that's not my field of expertise. And I've done everything myself so far. You know, even in my past detailing companies, I've always been owner-operator.
Yeah.
And I know I need to step outside that comfort zone to get to the next level.
So I'll tell you the biggest thing with scale. The key is hiring good and managing those people. And so for me, the hiring for me starts at the top. Who's gonna run that company? I've gotta like have complete trust in them. The COO has gotta be on point. And so when I appoint a COO of all these different companies, I have done my part of like really vetting them and making sure that these are the right people. From there, it's the COO's job to hire everyone else that they're managing and to manage those people every day. And starting out, you're the CEO and COO, right? Because you're the one doing it all.
Right, exactly.
And that's okay. Most people start out that way. But eventually as you scale, especially if you have two different companies, you have a detail and you got a TURO company, you're gonna have to say, all right, what do I gotta do to just be, say, the CEO? Who's gonna like run the day-to-day of this, right?
Right.
And that'll come with scale. You're not anywhere close to that yet, but just think about where it's gonna go.
Right.
That's where it's gonna happen. So as it relates today, for what I would say to you is, you gotta run the numbers on what does it look like for getting, you know, a space, okay? Have you done any research?
I have.
Okay.
I would need a space if I'm, you know, thinking long term that holds at least 40 cars.
That's what I'm thinking.
What I really need.
Yeah, I would think at least 40, 50. Like ideally, you'd want a space that is number one, centrally located in Las Vegas, because you're gonna be delivering cars everywhere. People are gonna want cars from you. Honestly, your place needs to be next to the airport because that's your biggest clientele.
It is.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So I would get a space near the airport. I'd get a space that for sure can hold 20, 30 as of today, because you don't need 40 right now.
Correct.
But have the ability to expand more, whether that's renting out another parking lot or whether that's, hey, there's like this open lot that's cool to use. Like, I don't know, but there's definitely a space that will allow you to fit your needs today, but also be able to grow tomorrow.
Yeah, I've actually been looking into trying to find someone to partner with that has available parking space where I can pay them a certain amount per month to use some of their parking to help them offset some of their costs too, overhead costs.
For sure. So for you, I think the space is the first thing you're gonna have to decide. And that should give you a lot of guidance. I think the airport, being next to the airport's the biggest thing for sure.
Okay.
The second thing you're gonna have to figure out is, how are you gonna buy all these cars, okay? And do you want to start buying these cars instead of the $5,000 to $8,000 cars?
That definitely makes sense, and that is the plan. That's the goal, is to eventually start swapping out the cars and adding more of that high-level side, which goes right hand in hand with the luxury detailing. Right now, I started where I could, and that was with the smaller cash investment cars. They kind of got it snowballing, and then I'm able to grow and scale to where I am now.
And I think if you are trying to build this luxury brand with the luxury auto detail, you need luxury cars on your lot too.
Right.
Like, it's a given.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the question then becomes like, hey, if I do scale, sure, I can buy 20 of these, you know, $5,000 cars. You only need 100 grand, right? I might even invest 100 grand. Who knows? Like, that will be easy to get. But if you want to buy 20 of these,
right, that's different.
You need $2 million bucks,
right,
minimum. So, have you thought about that? Like what it looks like to scale, you know, at the big boy level? And it doesn't mean that I got to take out a hard money, high interest loan. I can just partner with people and give up profit. Like, yo, all right, you're gonna fund it. It's gonna go on your credit. I'm gonna take care of the business. I'm gonna handle operations, and we'll split the profit.
That's gold. That's exactly what I need to know. Stuff like that.
You know, I'll look at it from my perspective and say, man, okay, is this a return that I'm willing to take? And then hopefully in, you know, 1 to 2 years, we own all these cars free and clear. And then now, you know, we own $2 million worth of cars together.
Right, and our net profit goes up at that point.
Yep. So I think that's the next piece you're gonna have to figure out, is bringing on an investor if you personally don't want to use credit to get the cars. Because look, your cash, it's hard to gain cash. Like, you're gonna have to just grind it out. You're gonna buy them slowly, one at a time, versus if you found the right guy today, you could go buy 20 of these tomorrow.
Yeah, that's definitely a whole different ball game at that point, it sounds like. So that's what I'm doing now, is building slowly. Roughly a car a month is what I'm buying, and I know it can be a lot bigger and better.
For me, I'm very interested in the Turo business, but it just has not been like worth my time if I'm gonna be the one to set it up.
Right.
If I gotta go get the app and train someone to do it and buy all these cars myself and build this business, it ain't worth my time. But you're already in it. Like, you know it. You know, I already know you're a hungry dude. What would it look like if we were to partner together, either in full or on a car or something like that?
So, you know, with partnering on a car, I've actually done that one time with my mother, actually. As a partner on the grander scale, maybe you could be a credit partner, where, you know, we can find funding or get funding for more, you know, higher end, more luxury cars to create that better experience for the people that are flying into Las Vegas.
So the big piece of credit that I see is, you know, number one, you need somebody who's gonna, you know, sign off on the building. You're gonna need capital to, you know, front that plus all the overhead with these employees that will have to be hired and everything. And then three, the cars. I mean, the cars are the biggest expense. It's very much like the flipping business where it's very capital intensive, right? We got to go buy, you know, millions of dollars of homes to make the money.
Right.
We got to buy cars to make money with the cars.
Definitely makes sense. So as a partner, I'm definitely willing, obviously, to bring the work in. And I have a little skin in the game as well. So I do have my emergency fund, maintenance fund for the cars, up to about 9 months of expenses.
Okay.
So I'm able to, you know, obviously use that and leverage that as much as I can.
Yeah. Well, the one thing too is we'd need to get commercial policies and everything like that, because now not only are you just trying to insure the cars, but you're insuring the business as a whole and the premises and the office, and you know, you got employees, you got a workman's comp, all that stuff. So the dynamic changes, and I would say for you probably would make less money initially as it gets off the ground, because it's just the business eats so much capital getting started.
Correct.
But then once it gets rolling, then it starts to look like a really good business. If I had to just think about numbers off the bat, let's just say we buy, you know, $20,000, $50,000 cars, right? That's $1 million.
Right.
And we think that we can make that $1 million back in the first year in just revenue. If we end up pushing that money back into the cars to pay them off, yeah, we don't really make much in year one, but in year two, now we got these paid off cars and essentially making, you know, close to $1 million in profit.
And that's the game plan. I'm definitely prepared for that. I go into this business knowing that most businesses take at least 3 years to become profitable.
Right.
You know, because you have those expenses like you mentioned. I've just done it only solely on a owner-operator scale at this point, and now I know.
Yeah, and that's just simple numbers. In reality, there's always unforeseen cost. What would probably happen is, you know, you take some profits in year one, and maybe the business makes a couple $100,000, and then the cars still aren't paid off. And in year two, you know, maybe we end up paying them all off and make the same again. And then in year three, now we have a clean slate and it's time to start making some major money.
Right.
But then even in year three, now you're starting to get into the maintenance and things that got to be done. And so after running a lot of businesses, I've made a lot of projections on what I think we're going to make. And typically it's less because there's all these things that happen as you grow.
Oh, okay.
More overhead happens, more maintenance, more just shifts in the market and things you got to adjust to. But overall, I think that the business model we described can be a 7-figure business net, you know, if we just do it the right way. We buy the right cars, we get good deals, you know, we're very tight with operations and hiring and having a good location that, you know, people want to go to. There's a lot that can be done to make this a very big business.
That's pretty cool, man. There's certain things you've said that I just haven't thought about in that perspective before.
Yeah.
And it definitely makes a lot more sense to be able to leverage these things like hiring employees, getting some of my time back to work more on the business than in the business, so I can, you know, scale it more and grow.
For sure.
So I took everything that I learned from that first video and now have listed my Tesla on Turo. So now we're gonna sit back and wait for somebody to book it. All right, no one's booked it yet, so I'm just gonna go post on IG story and get someone to book it. All right, making a post. So I think someone's gonna book this thing because number one of my followers probably will just book it for the heck of it. But number two, it's really cheap right now. Because I have no ratings or reviews yet, people are skeptical on my car. So I'm gonna have to price it really low to get those first wave of people in. Looking through the website, a normal Model X can rent for 200 bucks a day, but I'm currently priced at 120, which is far cheaper. So I'm pretty certain somebody's gonna book it. Let's find out. All right, so that actually happened pretty quick. Somebody named David has already booked the Tesla. And just like I thought, because I posted on Instagram, he actually is somebody who follows me. He says, "Thanks for letting me book. I'm a host on TURO. I really like doing it. I can share some of my experiences and insight if you want. I follow your content and wouldn't mind helping out." So I actually didn't plan to have another TURO host book the car, but this is even better because we could see what his experience is like on TURO as well. Well, he's gonna be picking up the car on Monday at the start of the week, so we're off to a good start. We'll see how it goes. All right, so we got David here who actually follows me and is gonna rent the Tesla. So he's the very first guy. He's been on TURO for a while. He's got his own fleet. So I'm pretty certain he's gonna treat my car good, but I got some questions to ask him about the business to see how profitable is this really. So check it out. He's over here in his purple Dodge Challenger. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you, David.
Yeah, Ryan, nice to meet you.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful Challenger, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
This is the Scat Pack right here.
So are you renting this on TURO?
I am.
What does something like this rent for?
Roughly 200 a day.
Tell me a little bit about your TURO business that you have.
So I do it as a part-time, like kind of a side hustle right
Yeah.
now. I have a few economy cars. Those are like my foundation. And then I always try to keep at least one or two sports cars that I like myself too, so I get to drive them when the renters don't have it.
So what's the purpose of TURO for you? Are you doing it to like make cash flow? Or are you trying to, you know, buy these expensive cars and then have them pay themselves off? Like, what are you doing?
My main thing is cash flow. So that's why I have my main majority. I have 6 cars total. I have a Nissan Versa, have a Fiat 500. I have a Jeep Liberty. Roughly all of them cost around $5,000 cash.
You bought them $5,000 a piece? So what are these things gonna generate in a year, like each car, you think?
Most of them will generate roughly $7K in that first year.
By year one, you've already paid the entire car off.
Oh, for sure.
And then the rest is just profit from there.
Correct. It's all how you buy it. I look at it like you make your money when you buy it. So I try to buy them good deals, buy them cash when I can, or make sure they're working properly, you know, make sure everything's where it needs to be. Mechanically, the wheels are where they should be, and then I let them go.
Okay, so tell me about this one. How much will this one rent for, and you know, what'd you pay for it?
Yeah, so this one will rent for $2,000 a month, roughly. But I do take off certain days just so I can enjoy it myself too. But yeah, roughly $2,000 a month. I spent $30K on this one.
But in like a year and a half, the car is already paid off.
Yeah, in a year and a half, and then I have a car that I could just keep that I really like. I've always wanted one, so.
So let's check you into the Tesla, because I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I was just about ready to hand you the key, and you were like, nah, man, like, you just don't hand me the key.
So the first thing we do is take our phones out, and then it always asks you first if there's any pre-existing damage. So we'll walk around the car and then make sure there's no damage on it. Doesn't look like it. So you actually go to trips. Yep, and you're actually already on my trip. So you'll go in, you first want to hit the cleaning checklist, and this just says that you clean the car thoroughly before the guest picks it up.
All right, David, I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not do this, but you know, I'm gonna mark that I did. All right,
so you just say done. It says thank you for being a value member of our community. And then that's when you click get started.
Hey, by the way, dude, I think you got the best deal in town.
On this car?
Yeah.
I definitely did.
You're
I did,
it for like $75.
Yeah, I did.
Your Chevy Sonic gets $75.
It does, yeah, roughly. Yeah, 50 to 70 bucks a day. As soon as you posted it, I jumped in there. I was like, let me book this car.
Bro, I usually am the one getting good deals off other people, but you definitely got me. You pull one in on me. All right, now I gotta document the car's condition.
The app will actually walk you through exactly which photos to take.
So I am going,
So driver's side, it shows the silhouette. Yeah, you could take it anyway.
Like this, even if it's not the full car, okay?
Because you'll go through and take more photos as well.
Okay, so now I gotta go on the front. Got the front of the car, all right.
I like that accent on there.
Yeah, got that future flipper orange. Back of the car, man, that's a lot of pictures, dude. Gotta get the front dash, the battery level. They wanna know how much juice is in here. Anything noticeable about the car. All right, so I got a scratch on the steering wheel. I got a little tear over here. And then I have a broken tail light that's kind of a little jacked up over here. Tesla, I bought the Tesla just like this. So I sent it to me. I was like, dude, really?
Well, you know how Tesla goes.
All right, I mean, that seems pretty good, 9 pictures. I trust you, dude.
Got a thorough check-in, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Then you enter the mileage, and then there's no fuel in there, so.
I don't even know how many miles I have. David, all right, man, I got to check your driver's license, dude. I got to see you are who it says. You just had a birthday recently, man.
I did.
So I just finished the checkout now.
Yep.
All right. And that's it. I guess, dude, this is it. I just hand you the key.
You just hand me the key. I do the check-in on my side just to say I'm picking it up.
Okay.
And it should send you an automatic notification too. I see your pictures are already in there.
Okay.
And it tells me rules of the road, no smoking,
Got it.
400 miles included. I can't go over that mileage, or you can charge additional.
Okay. Don't do it.
All right, and I just hit check-in, so we're all good to go. Now we both have insurance. I have insurance while I'm riding, so everything's covered.
All right, dude, so I guess just bring it back in one piece. And I will, since you're, wanting the C8, I'm actually driving a C8 tomorrow. And I'm driving the R8 today. So I'll let you know how it goes. But for you on YouTube, you gotta make sure you subscribe, because that's gonna be part 2 of this series where I'm gonna show you what it's like renting Turos, especially supercars.
Sure, that
All right.
sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right, bro, nice meeting you.
All right, nice
Take
meeting
good care of her.
See you in a couple days.
All right, man,
All right.
I'll see you. All right, now that I have the car back, I have to disinfect it before the next guest. So I don't really even know what kind of disinfecting stuff we have. I'm gonna have to find like some wipes or spray bottle. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, here we go. We got the all-purpose wipes. This is what we're gonna disinfect with. All right, so this is all we could find in the office, and hopefully we can book this thing tomorrow. So I've got to disinfect it. I took the course and passed, so I got to do what I said I'm going to do. So, unfortunately, I don't have any spray like David suggested, but I'm just going to go wipe everything down. My wife always gets on me about my cleaning, and she says it sucks. So, it is what it is. I never claimed to be a good cleaner. I hire it out. Oh man, I forgot. I got to get the seats too. This ain't no joke. We will get everything, guys. Okay, I gotta go back here now. This thing is clean. There we go. This car is ready for our next guest. Let's hope somebody books it. All right, so we are renting the Tesla out for the 2nd time now. We've got our newest person here. I don't really see him. What's up, dude? Are you renting it? You could have just asked me. You didn't have to rent it on Turo.
Well, dude, it's hard to ask you, man. You're so hard to get a hold of.
Jeez. If you guys don't know, Ray is actually a lender here in Vegas. He's a good buddy of ours, works with Forever Home a lot. Dude, and you've been renting this out on Turo before too, right?
Absolutely, man. It's a great way to cover a car payment and even a little bit more. I have a Camaro that does exceptionally well. Las Vegas is full of transients, tourists just coming to town. Rather than going to Enterprise and Sixth and all those other places, it's convenient for them. That's the way the world is going, convenience. Right off your phone, you could rent a car.
I'll tell you what, guys, very smart marketing play by him to rent it out and get on the YouTube video.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was a great deal. Compared to the other ones, and you got that custom wrap on it, man, so.
Yeah, dude. So what is this rent for on Turo?
Anywhere between $320 to $375. I mark it up during the weekends. There is a feature that will automatically push the price up. Demand gets higher. Turo wants to make more money. They get a percentage of it.
Well, I've known you've had this car for a couple of years now. So have you been renting it on Turo the whole time?
I became detached from it. I said, hey, let my toys make me some money in the process. So I'm in the process of getting another Acura NSX.
All these guys, especially, like, I've heard of multiple real estate guys and you know, you're a lender. You know, obviously they drive nice cars and stuff, and you're gonna have a bunch, and Turo's just gonna pay them off. How long do you think it will take Turo to pay this car off?
I did the formula. It's 270 rentals will pay it off. I literally need to rent this car out 6 times a month for it to pay for the insurance and the car payment. And I still get the luxury of lending it to friends and using it myself.
Well, man, I guess, you know, have fun with the Tesla, dude. And always good to see you, man.
Likewise, brother.
All right, bro, I'll see you.
The next day.
What's up, bro?
What's up? Oh, dude, awesome whip, man. Thanks for letting me use it.
Yeah, man. She treats you good?
Oh, dude, awesome, man. I'm totally getting one, man. I'm definitely.
You're gonna get a Model X?
No, the Cybertruck, man. I need it was either gonna be that or a 4, dude. No brainer, man. Even the price is amazing, dude.
Did you bring her back in one piece? You put gas in the tank?
Oh, haha, you're funny.
20 right now. What's the goal 1 year from now?
Yeah. So 1 year from now, I plan to have at least double the fleet, at least 40 cars or more, and to have a warehouse space where I can actually park the cars inside when I need to, or at least some of the fleet once I start getting real high-end cars.
All right. Well, I want you. My goal for you is at least 50.
At least 50?
At least 50, dude.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Like, I think you can do it just doing the OPC like you're talking about. If you grow your social media and you know, advertise that you're doing this for people, and like, I think you could literally get 50 cars tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's really where it took off. I started doing more on social media, making content, and it exploded, especially my TikTok. And then people started reaching out to me from there, and that's when I was like, all right, I'll take your cars. At first I was telling people no, and I can't believe I was doing that because I was so tied to my job. I was like, I just don't have time. I was telling people no, and now I've started taking those, and my revenue is going up.
Yeah. I think with just that alone, you can go get 30 cars literally in a month. I really do.
Right. Yeah. See, and I say, you know, 50, we say 50, it might go to 100. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I think you could do 100, but you know, I'm telling you, you said 40, I'm like, at least 50.
Right.
All right, dude, you got any final thoughts for Turo?
Yeah, definitely. So I want to give some free game for anybody out there that's thinking about getting into Turo, or you already have cars and want to grow. It's basically with the insurance, right? Everyone asks me, what insurance should I get or should I start with? And that's going to be different for different scenarios, but my first advice is to get one with a low deductible or no deductible when you start. And then as you start to grow, I know a lot of people complain about Turo taking a lot of your fees, right? If you're on the 75 plan, they get 25%. As you start to grow, you can minimize risk or take on more risk and up your levels to an 80% or 90% revenue take. Now your deductible is going to be higher, but if you're operating a business, you should already have that deductible saved as an emergency fund. So that's a way where you can really increase your revenue and Turo doesn't take as much from you.
I love it, dude.
Why don't you explain real quick what Turo actually is?
What Turo is an online application that actually allows you to rent to regular people. And one of the reasons why it stands out so much is here in Vegas, if you go to the airport, you can't rent a car unless you have a credit card. But with Turo, you can rent it with your checking account, your bank card, everything else. And it's basically anybody over 18.
So the way that I've looked at Turo is it's very similar to Airbnb. You know, if you want to go rent your car for, you know, a week or something, you can just put it on the Turo app and anyone can rent it. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. It gives the option to actually start their own rental car company with literally zero money out of pocket and rent peer-to-peer.
Okay, so do you personally rent this one on Turo?
Yes, I rent it out from time to time. I usually get about anywhere from like $120 to about $200 a day. But right now, the Vegas market is red hot. We're getting maybe about $200 to $250 per day.
Wow, that's crazy.
Insane.
All right, so if I'm gonna go put mine on Turo, what are some first things I need to do?
I tell everybody the most important thing are pictures. You want to set your car as far apart as everybody else. So find a nice park, garage, something like this with a nice skyline. Clean your car, take some good pictures. That's the first step. Second step is your actual pricing. A lot of people get on the app and they think, well, I'm just gonna rent my Tesla for $200 because that's what everybody's thinking about. And it's the complete opposite. Turo has an algorithm just like Google. So you need the reviews and everything else and trips to actually boost your rating up. So when you first post, do automatic posting to get those reviews quickly. So this way we can push your vehicle more through Turo's platform.
Yeah, and that's very similar to what I teach people with Airbnb. You know, when we first list a house for rent on Airbnb, we don't have any reviews, people don't trust it. So we gotta price it a little lower, which I guess the automatic pricing would do.
Exactly.
Just get my reviews up and then I can start getting market value.
100%. Once you hit that super host status, it's just like money in the bank. The algorithm just keeps pushing you and you get more and more renters.
All right, so let's just go back to the office then, take some pictures, get the listing set up, and then talk about some other things that people need to know about.
Sounds good.
All right, so I just got my account listed on Turo. You know, I used those pictures I took outside. It was pretty straightforward. It's saying that I can get 75 to 200 bucks with their pricing.
It's pretty normal in the market.
Okay, so what do you think it'll get like down the road once I get reviews?
Once you get a few reviews, I think you'll probably get to the $100 to $150 mark.
That seems super low for my Tesla.
It's going to be low in the beginning, but once you get super host, it's really going to push you to the next level, because once that algorithm catches you, Turo will literally push your car to the top.
Okay, so it's just like YouTube and all these other social medias,
Correct.
Same deal. So once I do that, I mean, if somebody books it, what happens? Like, how do they get the car? What's the process?
Well, you know, they have the traditional where people just show up to your house and pick it up. The other one is you can actually make some extra money by doing delivery. So you can offer an extra $10, $20, $30 to offer that service to go pick them up and drop off the car.
Wow, so I can tell you for me, I'm not gonna go pick up a car that I rent, you know, these supercars. I'm gonna make them drop it off to me.
100.
So, and I'm definitely not dropping it off to somebody else. So I can force them to come to me to get it.
Correct.
Okay, got it. So, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. At this point, I just wait for bookings, right?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I tell everybody while you're doing this, there's a few things we like to tell people about. So like one of the first tips I wanted to tell you is if you plan on doing this full time, I would definitely do GPSs. Now, even if you have just one car, the GPS will give you all kinds of information, whether people will leave your cars out in the middle of the desert. You always want to know where your car is at. And a lot of the new GPSs that they offer actually have smart tracking where it'll actually tell you if it's in a tow yard. So if somebody rents your car, does drinking and driving and gets it impounded, it'll let you know so you can get out of the impound quickly before it winds up racking up too many fees.
So for me, do I even need that since I have the Tesla?
The Tesla, no, because you have it on your phone, on your app, so it'll pretty much tell you where it is. You can do the smart tracking and actually highlight areas you don't want it to go to. So since it's an SUV, I wouldn't want it to go out at the dunes and do some forward.
Yeah, that'd be, how do I even stop that? You can't really do anything.
You can't stop it, unfortunately, but a lot of people know that, you know, hey, I'm watching this, or at Teslas, everyone knows there's a GPS. But as long as you let people kind of know that you are watching your vehicle and you're tracking a little bit, it gives them a better inclination.
Got it. Okay, so definitely get a GPS. What's the other ones?
The biggest one is insurance. Now, a lot of people watching this video are probably going to get triggered when I say buy the most expensive insurance. And I'm going to give you two examples why. So the first one, you can go with the lowest price plan and keep the most money in your pocket. But let's say for some reason one of your customers is driving it and they get in an accident. When your car is damaged, especially during the whole pandemic right now, it's very hard to get car parts. So let's say they rip the front end of your Tesla off. If your car is out for 30 days and it takes them maybe 45 days to get the bumper, you lose all that rental money. Your car is just sitting there, not making any money, and you can't even use it. Where if you get the top end insurance, not only does it pay for that, it gives you money for your own rental car, plus it gives you the money for time off. So let's say you're getting $250 a day for your Tesla, they will give you that for the full 35 to 45 days it takes to fix your vehicle. So this way you're not losing any money, you're actually making more money as your car is damaged.
Okay, so for me, obviously I've only got my Tesla, so I'm just insuring that to the max. For you as a dealer, you've got commercial insurance, right?
Yeah, when we rent off platform, not only do we use like your personal liability, so if you come to us and you want to rent, we actually use your insurance. And if not, we sell you different types of coverage to make sure that you and the car are both covered.
Okay, I also saw TURO has insurance. How does that work?
So every time you rent on their platform, they actually give you $1 million coverage for every vehicle. So if they rent your particular Tesla and they crash into somebody and they sue them, TURO will cover them up to $1 million, including repairs, legal fees, covering your car and your costs. So this way you're totally insured.
So why would you even need like your own insurance at a high level if TURO is going to do that anyway?
Well, you want to have your basic liability insurance, but also full coverage just to protect you. It may not ever happen, but also on the actual TURO platform, you want to pick the most expensive one so it does cover you in the accident. So there's TURO, there's renter's insurance for the actual renter, there's rental insurance for you, the person that's actually renting the car, and then you have your personal liability insurance. So a lot of it's a 3-tier system, so if one fails, one will pick up the other one.
Okay, got it. All right, so insurance is key. What's the other thing?
A big thing is maintenance. I cannot believe how many people rent their cars out on TURO and they never inspect them. If you're watching this now, do monthly inspections of your car, put it up on a lift, check your tires, check your brakes. We actually rented a car not too long ago when we were in San Diego, and the brakes and tires were completely shot. And this wasn't like a cheap car. This was, I think it was an i8. And It was scary. We were driving, we heard all the grinding and stuff like that, and we just were really freaked out. And we told the guy, and he was trying to charge us for the actual like things. And I'm like, okay, well, show me your maintenance records and prove that you serviced the car, quote unquote, a month ago. He couldn't. So one is to protect your clients. Two, it's to protect yourself, because that's the only thing they could sue you against, which Tesla, or excuse me, not Tesla, but TURO may not cover you, is if it's malfeasance or neglect.
So that makes sense. Now, obviously, you've been doing this for a while now. I'm sure you've got some horror stories with wrecks and stuff. Like,
oh, yeah. So, I mean, so I personally learned the problem with TURO's insurance when I first started. I did not go the actual full coverage. I went for the cheapest one so I can keep the most money. We had a Maserati Gran Turismo, two-door sports car. We rented to a customer from Europe. They drove it on the strip. They ended up doing a U-turn and hitting the median in the middle of the strip. It was actually on the news. It was teetering in the middle. We got it back, but the parts were all from Italy, so there was nothing here used in the United States. 3 months that car was down. I didn't make any money on it. I had to pay my insurance, I had to pay my overhead, all that stuff, and I didn't pick the right TURO insurance. Now, if I would have actually raised it to the proper one, I would have been getting $300 a day for those 3 months that my car was out being damaged.
you would have probably made more money.
100%, yeah. I would have had a guaranteed rental for 90 days, but instead I went the cheap route and it costed me.
So it just goes back, we got to get good insurance doing this.
Yeah, you know, and then we've had another one where we actually had a G-Wagon where the customer decided, like we talked about, taking it out 4x4ing, doing some stuff. Well, they went out in the middle of Red Rock, drove it off the side of the cliff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I thought that, you know, like we're looking at the GPS and we're like, oh, the customer's at Red Rock taking pictures with his family. A day goes by, it's still there.
Wow.
And finally we get a call from the park ranger saying, hey, we found one of your stickers inside your car. Somebody just crashed his car and left it. So that's why I tell people, get the GPS and definitely track your car because it'll give you a heads up.
That's crazy. So speaking of money, okay, you know, we're talking about what these could rent for on a daily basis. And I think the reason people are so interested in TURO is because it's such a great side hustle. And that's why I wanted to include it in the Flip Nation series. So what is the time frame that your car will actually pay for itself on TURO?
I tell people you want to shoot for 15 to 16 days a month rented. And if you can keep that average up for 90 days, that is a what's called a hot car. You keep that in your actual portfolio, almost like a popular car or a house that's renting, and you go get one or two more just like it, and you slowly build your portfolio. And after a while, it becomes, you know, basically from a liability to an asset. They just constantly keep renting out.
Okay, so about half a month renting it out is, you know, expected, and that's if you're doing good. How long will it take to actually pay off a car?
Most of ours, if you do it correctly, what you're supposed to do is not take a single dollar out of your vehicle for the first year, and you always pay down your loan. A lot of people get in the habit of keeping the money and they don't pay down for depreciation and maintenance. And that's where a lot of like these exotic car companies go out of business. They buy a $300,000 car, they're making $1,000 a day, they rent it for 25 days out of the month, but they pay their normal $3,000 car payment and they pocket the rest. You pay all that towards the car for the first year. So by the time that year's over, you got hopefully maybe $100,000 of your loan paid down. And now the second year, you can start taking your profits. But on a regular car, I would say about a year, year and a half is what we like to do. By the time we're about 80% paying off a loan, we actually don't keep them. We never pay them off. We just trade them back in and get another one.
Wow. But theoretically, somebody could just pay it off within a year, year and a half, if they just put all the profits towards it.
Oh, 100%. Like we have a 2015 Sonata, is one of my favorite cars. So you don't have to be rich to start this, and the TURO platform can literally get you started with like no money. You just post your car up there. But we paid, I think, $6,800 for that car. It paid for itself in less than 9 months.
Wow, that's insane. So last question to you, Lucky. Would you think that it's better to rent, a luxury car or, the Sonata, just the basic economy car?
It's kind of a catch-22. I know everybody wants to do the flashy thing and do the exotic cars, but I always tell people it's the actual more affordable cars is what's in higher demand. Because if we go on right now, we can probably go rent a Ferrari tomorrow, but try to find like an affordable Ford Taurus and a Honda Accord or a Honda Civic or something like that. There's nothing online that's at a decent price.
Okay, so the basic cars are the ones that have the better ROI. But, for a guy like myself or somebody watching this who wants to buy an exotic car, this is a great way to subsidize it and eventually pay it off, make it pay for itself.
100%. I know you guys talk about house hacking and saving money. It's the same thing in our world where, when I first bought my G-Wagon, I didn't drive it that much once I got the AMG. So I actually just rented it out on TURO, covered my bill. So as long as I rented it out 5 days on TURO, it covered my insurance, it covered my car payment, and now I get to enjoy my car for free.
Well, that's super exciting because I've been looking to buy a supercar. All these people on my podcast keep telling me to buy it, including yourself. And this could be a great way to do it. And by the way, guys, if you haven't subscribed to Lucky's YouTube channel, he goes over stuff like this in depth. So make sure you guys subscribe. But Lucky, I'm gonna put it on you. What do you think I should rent? Because I'm gonna go rent out my Tesla for the next week and I don't have a car. So I'm gonna go rent 5 supercars in the meantime.
Wow, let's see. I think the one's best for you because we know you do a lot of business meetings, but you want to drive it every day for that comfortability. I would say for tech, luxury, and everything else, let's start with maybe an Audi R8 or maybe a Mercedes AMG like mine. After that, maybe step it up to a Ferrari or Lambo to kind of close out the week. Just something that like a lot of fun that you can have just so you can get the taste of it. Yeah. And then make sure, like I said, definitely rent a C8 just so you can get the feeling. So if you do wind up going that route, you can go that way.
Yeah, we talked about the C8 on the podcast and man, they're such a good deal for how expensive they are. And that's one of those ones I'm looking at on TURO and saying, man, what will this rent for on TURO since it is pretty cheap for what it is? Like you should be able to pay that thing off pretty quick.
Yeah, I've seen them renting average of $300 a day right now.
Well, Lucky, I appreciate you coming on and inspiring me to do this. Guys, part 2 and part 3 are coming out, so make sure you're subscribed to this channel and hit the notification bell so you know right when it gets released. It's gonna be exciting seeing what my Tesla makes and then seeing what these supercars are renting for.
Super cool to see everything that you're building. I'm curious how it's numbers wise.
Yeah, so right now while I'm scaling, numbers are changing dramatically.
Right.
When we did our last video, I think I was at about 4 to 5K revenue per month.
Yep.
That scaled up to, well, this past month I did about 22K in July.
Wow.
Which is a lot. It's not a typical month. I would say probably taper off about 15.
Okay. So what do you see as like the net profit on those numbers?
It's about a 40% net profit right now.
Wow.
And that's because obviously I'm doing distributions for the other people's cars that I'm managing.
Yep.
And then I also have a few car payments on some of my fleet.
Yeah, so that's your take home.
Right, correct.
Wow, I mean, dude, to go make, say 20 grand, 40% is 8 grand a month net.
Right.
Running this business pretty remotely. Like how hard is it for you to run this?
I focus a lot on automating.
Yep.
So I've been doing things with TURO, like automating my messages. Before TURO added that feature, I had third-party apps that I was using or software to actually automate my messages. So that took a lot of time out of it.
Yep.
Now I also do contactless check-ins where I don't have to be there to meet with every renter. They can just pick up the cars and go.
Right.
So an average day, I might spend 3 to 4 hours working on this.
That's a good gig. Yeah.
I rented 5 supercars on TURO just to see how much these owners actually make. If you're new to my channel, this is actually the 3rd part of my TURO series. In part 1, we went over how TURO works and everything you need to know if you're gonna list your car on the app. And in part 2, I rented my Tesla Model X on TURO just to see what it would make and if people would bring it back in one piece. And that brings us to this video in part 3 where I'm gonna rent 5 supercars just to see how much these things rent for, and also selfishly to figure out what car I want to buy for myself. All right, so let's check out my first car for the week. We got the Audi R8. Now, this is a 2015 version, and man, it's a pretty sweet looking car, but the only thing I don't like is the soft top. I love convertibles, but man, whenever I look at a soft top, it just makes like this luxury car look so cheap. I don't know if you feel that way too. So as I said in the beginning of the video, I'm gonna judge these cars in 3 different ways. Number 1, what's it cost? Number 2, what's it rent for on TURO? And number 3, would I personally buy one because I just like the car? So let's talk stats. I went to Auto Trader and looked up 2015 Audi R8s. Wait, is it Audi or Audi? I don't even know. But anyways, a 2015 Audi R8 on Auto Trader is going from $100,000 to about $130,000. If you try and buy a 2021 brand new, they start at around $145,000 and with options could probably go over $200,000. Now, as far as how profitable this car is, I paid $480 to rent it for just 1 day. And it breaks down in the following. It was $300 to book it for a day. It was $53 to get minimum protection insurance. They actually forced me to get insurance on this car, even though I already have mine. There was a $27 trip fee, and then there was a $100 delivery fee. Now, obviously, I could have avoided the $100 delivery fee if I was gonna go get it myself and drop it off myself, but I ain't got time for that. I'd rather just pay the fee. Now, obviously, the owner isn't getting the insurance money, but they are getting the $300 for the trip price, plus the $100 delivery fee. So he's making about $400 in just one day of renting me this car. Now let's just be conservative and say he could rent this out for half of the month at 15 days. Depending on if they got the delivery fee or not, he would make $4,500 to $6,000 every month. So if we just call it $5,000, over a full year, he'd be making $60,000 on this car, which means if you bought this used for $100,000, you'd pay it off in about 2 years. So the math works out. That's a pretty good investment. Now let's go have some fun with it and see if I'd actually buy this car to drive myself. This thing got some giddy up. You know, it definitely sounds good. I like the engine revving. Why did it bring the windows up? To tell you it's done? All right. All right, I'm not gonna lie. The convertible is nice. I may have to make my next car a convertible. I like driving like this, but it might mess up my hair if I gotta film. So I will say, it looks 1,000 times better with the top down, no doubt about it. But if you had to ask me, is this something I would invest in, something that I'd want to drive as my supercar? Absolutely not. It's really not that fast, the tech in it's really bad, and it's a soft top. So for all of those reasons, I would not be spending over $100,000 to own this. But that's why I rented a bunch of other cars so I could find one that I would spend money on. So let's go see what day 2 has in store. What's up, guys? So it's day 2 and I just got the 2020 C8 Corvette. Now this is the one that I'm most excited for because I've had so many people tell me about it. And let me tell you, just the time of driving it to this spot, it has not disappointed. Just looking at it from the outside, it's one of the most beautiful cars out there. I mean, the fact that this convertible looks like this for the price it is absolutely insane. I'm not even a big fan of red. If you notice, like none of my companies are red for that very reason. But when I look at this car on the outside and then this red interior leather, it's absolutely beautiful. But the thing I love about this car versus the Audi is how much tech it has. You've got this beautiful touchscreen, you've got an all digital dash, just everything about this car feels modern and new. The Audi, let's just say, did not feel that way. But probably the best part about this car is that it's a hardtop convertible. Check this out. All right, let's see how fast this is. 3, 2, 1. Let me tell you, this one is a fun one to drive. 1,000 times funner than the Audi. And when you hear the numbers with it, you're not gonna believe how good of a value this really is. All right, so let's jump into the 3 ways that we're rating this car. Number 1, price. This is easily the best value out there in terms of fast cars, convertibles. It destroys the value of anything out there. You can get this brand new starting at $60,000. I actually called my local Chevy to see what it would cost to order one of these, and they said it's $10,000 over MSRP if I want to order it from them. So that just goes to show that number 1, how much of a great deal it is even at MSRP, but number 2, how much demand there are for these things. They're willing to pay more than it. Now, as far as what I paid to rent this on Turo, it was $375 for the trip price, $67 for the protection, $31 for a trip fee, $120 for the delivery. All in all, it came out to almost $600 to rent this for a day. Now, as we said before, the car owner doesn't get all of that. He's probably getting $500 minus Turo's fees. But even at $500 times 15 days every month, he's looking at making $7,500 for the month. So theoretically, you could pay it off in 1 year of owning it if you rented it on TURO. Now granted, TURO also takes their fees anywhere from 15 to 30% of that revenue, so it might take you a little longer than 1 year, but the point is, this car at its current price and what people are willing to pay for it on TURO is an absolute great value. Now, as far as number 3, for my personal opinion of the car, if you couldn't tell by now, I absolutely love it. I 100% would buy one of these cars. I may end up getting one after this video. I don't know. Comment below if you think I should. I love the way it looks. I love the way it drives. The tech inside is good. Everything about it is beautiful. So in the near future, you might see me as a Corvette owner, but let's see what day 3 has in store. All right, so we're here down the street from my office actually to pick up this beautiful Porsche. Like, man, it looks really good, but the hard thing is keeping my eye on it when there's all of these other cars around me. You've got this Lambo. Look, we drove the C8 the other day. Look how many C8s they got right here. And they even got my, blue that's just like my Tesla. I mean, that C8 is sweet. So let's go meet the owners. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? These were all initially gonna go into TURO.
Okay.
So we were just getting the inventory collected, working with the dealerships. It's been a painstaking process to go through and get these cars. We got this Porsche here, the Taycan.
Yep.
This is a 4S.
We usually adjust prices for holidays, and then with summer coming up, we'll probably adjust a little bit.
I definitely appreciate you guys sharing, your business with me, and I'll definitely link to all your guys' stuff below in the description of this video. So if any of you are coming to Vegas to rent a car, I mean, these are very well priced. And all right, guys, well, we're gonna go drive it around and we'll drop it off tomorrow. Awesome, thanks, guys. This car is nice. I'll tell you what, it kills the Model S and the Teslas in terms of looks. I mean, it's got way more going on. All right, we got electric, baby. That instant torque. This one is for sure my favorite car that I've driven thus far. And let me tell you, there's a lot of cool things about it. So let's jump into the ratings. Number 1, you could buy this car for $80,000. Now, that's not this trim or this speed level. This one I'm guessing probably is around $120,000 with upgrades, but that's still a pretty good deal and very comparable to the Tesla Model S. So for number 2 on what this will rent for on TURO, I rented it for $400 as a trip price. Paid $68 for minimum protection, $45 for a trip fee, plus $50 for a delivery fee. So all in all, it's almost $550. But just using our typical formula, if they rented this out for half the month, they're getting $7,500 a month, which turns into $90,000 per year. Which, going off the base model price of $80,000, means that you're making more revenue in year 1 than the car costs. And that's a common theme I've seen when I'm talking to all these TURO hosts. They want to pay off the car within a year. Now, as far as rating number 3 for what I personally think of the car, I love it. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the body lines, the rims, everything looks great. Honestly, the best part about this car is all of the tech inside. I mean, everything has a digital dash. There's not one button on this car other than the steering wheel. So this car would definitely be on my list to buy. But I'll tell you, the biggest thing that this car has made me realize after driving the Audi and the Corvette is that for me, on my next luxury car, I gotta have a 4-door. I just don't like the coupe. Being able to have the second row and more space is just practical for me, and it allows me to use it as more of a daily driver. Now, as far as would I buy this car? Absolutely. Out of the 3 I've driven thus far, I would buy this before I bought the Corvette or the Audi, just because I like the 4 doors, I like the tech, just everything about it is super nice. So with that being said, let's see what day 4's car has in store. All right, it's day 4, and look what we have here. This Mercedes AMG GT. This thing is sick. And if it looks familiar, because it's the same exact car that my boy Lucky has from the first video. My first look at this car, it just looks like the Batmobile from The Dark Knight. Like, this car, to me, is the best looking one that I've seen thus far. But let's go take it for a spin and see what happens. All right, so first impressions, interior, probably the nicest of the bunch. I mean, the Taycan was really nice, but man, just like looking at all of the gadgets and the way that it's laid out, I love how this Mercedes is. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Dude. This car is fun to drive. All right, so let's jump into the 3 ratings. This car right here starts at about $130,000. Now, obviously that's a lot of money, so let's see if it's worth the return on TURO. So to rent this car, I paid $429 for the trip price, paid $73 for minimum protection, $35 for the trip fee, and then $120 for the delivery fee. So all in all, to rent this for one day cost me $640. So while some of the other ones we drove look like they could get paid off in a year, this one would probably take at least 2 years to get paid off just due to its price and what it actually rents for. So as far as it being a good value on TURO, probably not the best choice. The Corvette is a much better choice to get a return quicker. Now for the third thing with how much I actually, look who we got here. Pretty sweet car. Dude, how'd you know I was driving this?
In the parking lot, I had to come check it out.
Dude.
So how are you loving it so far, man?
Well, I'm on day 4. I've driven an R8, I've driven the C8, I've driven the Taycan, and now I've got the Mercedes just like you.
Okay, so out of the ones you just drove, which one's your favorite so far?
So I was gonna talk about my third aspect of this, you know, how I personally like the car. So for me, after driving this for, you know, a day and just hanging out with it, number one, it's beautiful. I think it's the best looking car out of the bunch. The Porsche looked good, the C8 looks good, but this just like...
This is something you feel like you can drive it every day.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind driving this every day. And then inside of it, I mean, I'll go in it real quick. The tech in here is so much better than the rest. I mean, the Taycan had great tech because it's electric, but I love this center dash in here. I love the steering wheel.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's just, the whole look is awesome. You got the newer model than mine, so you got the fully digital dash, which just looks amazing.
Well, yeah, and just looking at both of them, you know, this got a more aggressive grille than yours. I like the huge emblem. But overall, dude, I think it's a 10 out of 10. I would totally buy one. I'm not sure if this is gonna be the one I buy, because I think I want a 4-door still, but...
Yeah, definitely. Now that you've kind of experienced her a little bit, what are your thoughts on TURO itself as a platform?
Dude, I gotta tell you, these guys are making more money than you said initially. Like you said, yours rents for like $150 to $200. I mean, I just paid $600 to rent this for a day.
Yeah, the housing market is not the only thing that's red hot right now. The TURO market is insane here in Vegas.
Yeah, and even the other cars I've rented, they're all $300-400 minimum.
Man, I'm gonna have to put my car back on TURO if they're going for that high, and I'm gonna get something very special for tomorrow too.
Oh, you guys hear that? Day 5 about to be special. Let's go see what happens. All right, so it's day 5, and let me tell you, I wanted to rent something cool like a Ferrari or a Lambo, a true exotic car. But when I looked on TURO, they were all renting for like $2,000 for a day. Now, I got the money to do it, but man, that's a hard pill to swallow for just one day and a YouTube video. But I ended up getting really lucky. On day 3, when I rented the Porsche Taycan from Morgan and his wife, they had a whole fleet of cars, and I saw their Lambo, and they saw me just drooling over it. And after I returned the Porsche, they actually said that they would let me rent the Lambo completely for free. So now we're back here at their lot, and as you can tell, it's completely empty because they've rented their entire fleet, which is awesome. And it goes to show how great of a business this is. So now I get to drive this beautiful Lambo. Dude.
How's it going, man?
Dude, I gotta tell you, I really wanted to drive this, and I didn't think it was gonna happen.
Well, I'm glad we were able to make it happen for you.
I will take good care of her, and I just, once again, I appreciate you for letting us do this, man.
Of course, yeah.
So, guys, if you're in Vegas, check these guys out because they have a whole big fleet of cars, and they're really good people, for sure. Cool, man. All right, well, I'm gonna have some fun with it. Yep. All right, so to talk about the Lambo, I had to get a good setting. So I decided to come to my mountain where I'm about to build my dream home. If you're new to my channel, we're actually doing a series documenting every step of the way of building a house right up there. So make sure you're subscribed to see those videos. All right, so let's talk about this Lambo and go through our 3 different ratings. So number 1, these things, I mean, they could start at any amount, but the upgrades are gonna be so expensive. You're spending at least $300,000 on this Huracan brand new. The one we've got right here is a 2021. It's only got 1,000 miles on it. And I can tell you the tech inside of it is much better than previous Lambos that I've seen. Now, obviously Lambos are really expensive. Everyone knows that. But what do these things rent for on Turo? Well, like I said in the beginning, I saw them renting for $2,000 a day, and that wasn't even a 2021 that's brand new like this. Talking to Morgan, they said that they were gonna price it at $1,500 starting out and eventually raise it once they get more ratings. Talking about $2,000 a day, I wouldn't say that it's gonna rent half the month because it's really expensive and more exotic, but even if you rented it out for 10 days out of the month, you're talking about making 20 grand every single month on this Lambo. Put that out over a whole year, and that's $240,000. So just like all the other cars we've rented, you're still looking at paying this car off within a year to 2 years. And so as far as an investment goes, if you really do want a Lambo, Turo's a great way to pay for it. Now lastly, for the 3rd rating, as far as what I personally think of it, I mean, who doesn't like a Lambo? It's beautiful. The matte gray on this car is awesome. I love just seeing the engine right back here. Just, man, driving it, it was easily the fastest car we had. Just, everything about it's great. I have really nothing negative to say about it. Now, do I actually see myself buying one of these for my next car? Probably not. I mean, it's a beautiful car, but I don't think I would buy this for me right at the moment. Now, with all that being said, if I had to pick the winner of the 5 cars that I drove this week, I would probably pick one. Porsche Taycan. And the reason I picked the Porsche Taycan is because number 1, it was the only 4-seater, and I've realized that a 4-seater is what I want. But number 2, its tech was amazing, it looked great, the price point I feel like was really good compared to the other cars. And it was just a really fun drive, so out of everyone I picked, it would definitely be the Taycan. Now that being said, doesn't mean that that's what I'm gonna get. I actually really liked the Mercedes, just the way it looked, how it drove, everything about it, but I didn't like that it was 2-door. But the thing is, they actually make a 4-door version of that car. So if I were to get a new luxury car, it's probably gonna be that one.
All right, so for those watching that really are thinking about getting into Turo and everything, like what are some misconceptions or some pitfalls that they might go into? Because there's a lot of people who say Turo's not legit.
Right. Yeah, so the main thing is a lot of people don't think Turo will pay you if you have a damage claim on your car. So I see that a lot on like the Facebook forums or the Turo pages. And usually the people that say that are hosts that didn't follow the terms of service, and then they fall into a bad situation where they get their claims denied. But for me, I don't get claims denied. I get paid every single time. That's like if someone has a fender bender. And
how often have you had to go through damage?
Not often. Not as often as you would think. even though some of my most viral videos are the damage videos, right?
Yeah.
When my Challenger got totaled, that was a crazy viral video.
Yeah.
But that's what draws attention. People see that, and that's what people gravitate to.
Right.
But I would say it's every few months at the most.
Yeah.
I'll have anything with a damage claim.
Yeah. So why do you think that? I mean, I get that these people don't follow the rules, and so TURO doesn't pay out. What are some other things they should keep in mind?
So the main thing people should keep in mind is, because another thing is people believe TURO takes too much money, too much revenue from them.
Right.
And I look at it opposite, right? So, and that's because I look at all the benefits they're providing to me and to other TURO hosts that most people don't think of. So when you use a platform like TURO, they provide, protection plans, which is subbed out to their insurance company. They provide customer service, back-end support for your renters, so you don't have to message with them about how to use the app, things like that. Yeah, so I use a lot of those benefits to my advantage, right? So if someone, let's say, has a flat tire on the side of the road, most hosts will jump to the rescue and go out there, drive down the highway, find the rental, figure out a plan, right? That's what most people do.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, but I wouldn't do that because there's roadside assistance with TURO as well. So if they send me a message about it, I just send them hey, please contact roadside assistance through TURO. They handle the entire process for you.
Yeah.
So if I were to take my cars off the platform, now
you got to do everything.
I have to be the marketer, right? I have to bring my own customers and renters. I have to do my own customer service. I have to do my own roadside assistance.
Yeah.
Where I just don't want to.
Yeah, and I think, my buddy Houston, when we just filmed at his shop, he talks about how TURO hosts don't have to do all those things you mentioned, plus they don't have payroll taxes and huge expenses on an office space, like a big office space like he has. Like, you guys get a lot of advantages doing it through TURO.
Exactly. Yeah, I actually do have payroll taxes because I hired my wife.
There you go.
To work on the business on the back end.
Yeah, nice, dude. So what would you say is like your plan going forward?
So my plan going forward is to continue to grow and expand on OPC. I mentioned that before, other people's cars. I'm adding that to my fleet. Because to me, it's a way for me to really help other people and grow my revenue with no overhead for myself.
Right.
So it's a business model that just creates cash flow.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. You were talking to me too about doing some kind of education. You already got some ebooks out there for helping people do TURO.
Right, yeah, so I was one of those guys that would always say, I won't get into the training or education side of it. But the thing is, the demand is so high, and once I did it on like an off scenario, I saw how much it actually helped someone.
Yeah.
And that's what changed my mind. So I went in and I wrote the ebook, and then I started doing some one-on-one consulting to help other people grow their fleet.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I was the same way. I never wanted to like coach in real estate and do all that stuff, but finally I did it, and it was the best thing I ever did, and
right.
You're gonna always deal with haters and other things, but when you look at your students and the people that you've really helped, like, it's worth it.
Yeah, that's what changed my mind about it. Like, as soon as I help someone, I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. Like,
right.
People reach out to me, DM me every day, like I'm sure they do with you.
Yep.
And then I just decided to do something about it.
I've heard the concept of TURO. I've to me, it's more of like a luxury car app. I could be completely wrong. And basically, I just go on the app and I can go rent someone's car. Like, how does it all work? Like, do I have to go to their house? Like, how would I even get the car? Because obviously I need a car.
Yeah.
Like, how does it work?
So TURO gives you a few options. You could either deliver the car for additional fee, or they can come to your house. You can meet at a set place, and it gives you the freedom to rent to pretty much most people. And I think that's why TURO is blowing up. So if you come into Vegas and let's say you're here for the weekend and you're ready to have fun and you don't have a credit card, none of our rental car companies will even take you. You could say, look, I'm a billionaire. I don't need a credit card. I got cash. I got $100,000 in just this checking account to rent a car. Every rental car place here will say no, even if you're trying to rent the cheapest car. Where TURO, it syncs to your debit card and it syncs to your bank account and gives anybody the option to rent a car, no matter if they're 18 years old, because that's a big thing too. If you're 18 years old, you can't rent a car. But when I was 18, I was traveling.
That's kind of the dumbest rule I've ever, always
you can go to war and you could join the military, you can play professional sports, but you can't rent a car.
Right.
You
got to pay taxes.
Yeah. So it gives you that option to do that. And then also, with TURO rising up so quickly, it's giving people the freedom to give people cars more affordably than ever before. So if, let's say, we want to go take a weekend trip to San Diego and we want to rent a convertible Mustang just to have a nice cruise down there. If we go to somewhere like Enterprise or Hertz or something like that, you're looking at maybe on a weekend, a popular weekend, maybe $100 a day with insurance, and they're probably gonna have to pay additional, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Or Turo, you rent it on the app. The owner that rents it, let's say it's your car, is 100% insured through Turo up to $1 million. And then also the client gets that same car with good insurance and a fraction of the cost.
Yeah. You know, I've never rented on Turo, but like I travel so much, right?
Yeah.
I should. Should I start doing that?
I would totally recommend it because, you know, one of the things like we kind of talked about when you guys were out shopping for your car, you know, best way, like when I have people like, well, I want to make a big purchase. Like my friend, he went and bought a Tesla. I don't know if I want a Tesla. I hear it's too quiet. It's weird. I'm like, why don't you get on Turo, rent one for the day, take you and your wife out, drive up and down the strip, see how it feels.
Yeah.
And it's the best way to get a full test drive, no salesman in the back barking at you, like, isn't this a great car? You should buy it. You know, it's like it gives you the opportunity to do that. And then I kind of made it as a thing of mine where every time I go to a different city, I drive a different car. So if I'm like, hey, the new C8 Corvette came out, let me drive that. Okay, I drove that. You know what? I just saw that Kia made the best minivan. So I got some car reviews coming up on my channel, and that's how I did them. I literally just rented cars on Turo, drove them around, you know, and showed them off. And, you know, and like classic cars. You know, most people can't afford some of these rare cars. There's a lot of amazing things on Turo that make it affordable for everybody to rent.
Yeah. That's funny. You're renting the best minivan, dude. I like it.
Yeah.
That's going to be my go-to. But, okay. So Turo's great. Obviously, it's like the Airbnb of cars.
Yes.
That's pretty much how I see it. Let's talk about my Tesla. How would it logistically work? Because I got to charge it too, you know? So, okay, I would charge the Tesla. They could pay me a delivery fee if I deliver it to them, or they're coming to my house or somewhere and I'm just handing them the keys and I'm out.
Yeah, so when the customer comes in, you first you take pictures of your car. I always tell people take good pictures. You post it online and you can set the price. Now, when you're a new person, I always say don't do that. There is an auto pricing feature that basically matches you up with whatever your market is. Because you may think in your head your car is only worth $100, but if it's peak season and all the Teslas are rented, your car gets bumped up to $200 a day.
Right.
So now, you know, it shoots it up automatically for you. After that, you can choose whether the customer comes there or not. Once they show up, basically the app, you take pictures of the car all the way around to make sure there's no damage before. You take a picture of the person's ID, all goes into Turo, you hand them the keys, they drive away. From that second, you're insured 100%.
Got it. So tell me, my Tesla, for example, what could I rent it for?
I've seen those things go for anywhere from $200 to $500 a day.
That's crazy. So what, like, how often would it get rented? If, like, let's just say I didn't need it, you know, like it's open all the time.
I would say that it would pay for itself in your car. And if you rent it out at least 7 times a month, you would make money, pay your car note and your insurance, and be able to drive your car for free. That's the new thing that's going on. What's called car hacking.
Yeah.
You know, and I did the same thing when I first bought my G-Wagon. You know, I was so excited, but I'm more of a sports car guy. And so it sat there in my driveway. So I put it on Turo, $200 a day, just see what I get. And I started getting just tons of people using it. It got to the point where it was paying for itself. And so I got to drive my car for free for a whole year. And it didn't cost me anything. And then everyone's like, well, they're going to destroy your car. And I'm sure they're watching. Oh, they're going to mess it up.
They don't.
Turo pays for it.
But how often did, like, you have issues?
Very, very rare.
Yeah.
Out of a fleet of like 60, 70 cars, I think maybe once every 3 months we get some random thing. It's only because we're in Vegas. You know, you get somebody that pukes in your car. Somebody brings a dog. You know, we put big stickers everywhere. Hey, don't smoke in our car.
Right.
But Turo, like when I have any issues, hey, this client smoked in my car. This customer puked or whatever, had a dog. I'm going to charge him a $400, $500 cleaning fee. Turo, no questions asked. You take the pictures, you send it to them. Money's in your account.
Nice. Yeah, I get that a lot with Airbnb. People are like, "Oh, they're gonna trash stuff." It's like, no, people are fine. The people who use these apps are just a different type of person, you know, versus just like how we would think the world would be.
Yeah,
you know,
it's that mystique of like, oh, well, they're not doing traditional realms. They must be shady. It's just a bunch of younger people that know tech. That's the new thing. Like, why pay $300 for a hotel room when they can rent maybe your whole apartment for $200 and be free to come and go as they please, you know, don't have to worry about anything, you know, and that's what people want. Maybe they don't want the smoke. Maybe they don't want the gambling.
Yeah.
You give them that opportunity.
Yeah. So, man, I'm just thinking from my Model X, you know, I planned on potentially trading it in at some point for, you know, I ordered the Rivian R1S that I'm really excited about.
Nice.
So when that comes out in like August, September, whenever I get it, I was like, all right, I don't really need two electric SUVs. They're like the same thing,
Yeah.
you know? But I'm like, at that point, would it make sense to just keep it? Because number one, I'll have another car. That's cool. But number two, I'll still get the tax benefits of owning that car.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would definitely keep it, rent it out, get the depreciation, your other tax benefits. That car probably alone will pay for that car as well as your new vehicle.
That's good. So, all right, you're changing my mindset here. So tell me, a guy like me, you know, I don't really care. It's not worth my time to go do Turo myself. What do I do?
There's a lot of third-party apps where they take care of it for you. So with Turo, you can do automatic check-in, check-out. So like you have a Tesla, you actually have the option on your phone where you could leave the keys in there. The customer submits the pictures in their ID, and you just press the button, your car unlocks, they drive away with it. So if you don't have the time, you could literally leave it parked in front of your office. Have them do that. You don't have to touch it. When they bring it back, have one of your people clean it, put it back up there. Because most of the rentals, I never even meet the people. I have them parked all over the city.
Huh.
On my app, they say this customer's coming. They send me a picture of the IDs, confirm it. I press unlock, car unlocks. They get in the car, they drive away. Especially with this pandemic, it made everybody so virtual that you really don't have to mess with people. That's why rental cars are blowing up right now.
I also have seen people, you know, open up these luxury car like not dealerships, but you know, like the racing tracks and stuff. Like, you know, because I've actually had a friend. He's like, "Yeah, we're starting this, business. Super good investment. Like, if you just buy the car, you can let it go at our business. We'll split profits, and it'll pay for itself. You know, you could buy a Lambo right now, and it'll pay for itself." That's the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, there are some companies here in Vegas that do an amazing job, and they're extremely profitable. We've bought in some of their cars at auction, and they've handed us the titles because they owned them cash because they paid them off a year ago from all the trips from the tourists. But my opinion, it's just a lot of risk because the most expensive thing when it comes to Ferraris, Lambos, and some of these other Highline cars is the maintenance. I mean, you burn a clutch out in a 488 Ferrari, you're looking at $12,000, $14,000 just for the clutch, another $5,000 for service.
Wow.
And all it takes is some guy to drop the transmission or do launch control 3 times and you roast your clutch. And so that's why these guys are trying to do track-driven ones. So they don't drive them on the streets. They basically force them to drive. So if you hedge your bet with having less fun but more of a consistent, I guess, income, I mean, I see it as a plausible business model, but I don't know. To me, it's like those cars are meant to be driven around. Like the whole point of people renting these Ferraris is because they want to be seen in them. Most people that rent these exotic cars from us don't go on the track and go 200 miles an hour. They drive on the strip at 20 miles an hour with the windows down with 110 degrees so everybody can see them.
Or they're, you know, making their YouTube videos and IG posts, you know, just, you know, post it up. What up?
Yeah,
you know,
I made
got
them.
my Benz, not my Benz, my Ferrari and my Lambo. Yeah.
Well, Benz too.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw my car. I love my car too, and it's in the same realm. But
yeah, what is your car? Which one is that?
AMG GTS.
GTS. That car's sick. I like that.
503 horsepower, and the big reason I bought it is because I can drive it every day. 488 Ferrari, kind of close to the same horsepower, but I don't think I could drive it on the rallies that I go on.
How's the gas work with Turo? Same deal. Like you got to bring it back how it came.
Exactly. Everything you do, you get dinged on just like a regular rental car company. And the best thing is Turo reminds people. So if you're not an experienced business owner, Turo almost gives you the guidelines and the structure to say, hey, what's the gas? Take a picture of the gas. Take a picture of the miles.
Right.
Take a picture of the tires. It forces you to look at all these things. So if the customer brings it back and it's empty, you just submit it to Turo and Turo reimburses you for your gas.
Right. The only, like, you know, it's so great that the Tesla's electric, but that's the only bad part. Like, they're not going to bring it back with a full battery.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I know that some people are worried about. One of my friends, he has a whole fleet of Teslas, and I think he's got 14 right now here in Vegas that rents just on Turo.
Wow.
And he's so worried that most people, you know, when it gets low on battery, it's dinging, it's telling you to pull over, it's probably blowing up your phone, sending you messages. And he sees this and he freaks out because most people are like, well, if I stop somewhere, I can just push it. you can't push these cars. Like once you run out of juice, that's it. It's a wrap, you know?
I don't know who thinks that. They're like, oh, if I just push it. Like that's never crossed my mind.
Yeah, you know, and those things, they don't realize how heavy they are. Like your Tesla weighs more than your Lincoln Navigator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because that battery's that heavy.
The battery's huge. So you lose all the metal from the motor and everything, but you gain all the weight from the battery.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Man, that's giving me something to consider, because I had pretty much in my mind decided that, yeah, you know what? It's just, I'll probably get the Rivian and trade it in, but yeah, it might make more sense just to Turo it and have them all.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you the opportunity to do different things. You get high-end clients to come in town for your training or whatever else. Give them the car and work that in.
The next, that's my next giveaway. Drive my Tesla for the next week, you know, because I don't need it. It's on Turo. Yeah. You know what? It actually is probably worth it for the content. I put my Tesla on Turo for a week. You won't believe what happened. There's the title. That's the clickbait.
100%. You'll probably get 100,000 views easy.
Probably. I need to just do it. All right, but that means I need to buy another car, so I need the Rivian to come here already.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the same thing. Once I get my R8, I wanted to do something with the Mercedes, but we're going to see how it goes. This next few months have been very interesting since, as you know, YouTube's picking up and a lot of good things are happening for people here.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it to the end. The good news is I've got another one that I know you're going to like, and all you got to do is click it right here. Linking it right here. All you got to do is just click it, and you're going to see this new episode that you're going to love.
It just really depends on your market, but what I would say is if you're really interested in Airbnb, and you're really interested in buying short-term rentals, just go pick a market where you're able to grow. I would not pick a restrictive market, because even if rents are going up and you can only buy one of them, or the city's gonna be a pain to deal with, I would not want that. I'd rather be in a market where they have freedom